All right, well, good evening, everyone. For those of you who aren't live with us, glad to have you watching. This is our bi-weekly men's meeting, IronMen, which is designed to give a safe space for men to discuss the program of total life transformation known as Optavia. It's designed for new prospective clients, veteran clients, coaches, and leaders. It's the intention of IronMen that we will sharpen the saw of the members rather than correcting each other. IronMen will have an appointed moderator. That's Tom. Usually I'm filling in tonight. My name is John Erway. 4 components to our meetings usually. We start off with a story from somebody who no one has volunteered yet. So
I did 2 weeks ago. I did.
Yeah,
Well,
I think all of us have, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we usually have a story, then study, then support and share. So I'm looking forward to all of it. We're talking about Jamil Frazier's book, The 12 Shifts. We've already gone through the first 4 shifts, and tonight is You Are an Ace, Light Yourself on Fire, shift 5. So should be a good discussion. I don't know, for the sake of the recording, should we introduce ourselves?
Sure.
All right. So I'm John Erway from upstate New York, and let's see, I'm on, I don't know what week it is now, but I started on plan on July 5th, and I'm down 120 pounds. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, all right. I'm Tim. I'm from Lakewood, New Jersey. I started on the program back in September of 2020, and I'm down. Got down to 80. I lost 85 pounds. I put some back on. I'm trying to get that squared away again, but it's been great doing this. Glad my wife and I did it together, which I think was the secret to our success. Is just did it together, so it really helped. So,
my name's Jim Rotenberg. I'm from Quakertown in southeast Pennsylvania. I started Optavia in 2018 and lost 26 pounds total. And hanging right there.
Andy.
So I'm Alan Reed, and I have been wandering around about 60 pounds down from where I started now for 7 years, helping other people about the same thing as much as I can. And I live in a little town called Birdsboro, about 10 minutes west of Pottstown, Pennsylvania.
All right, and we've had John and Andy show up in the meantime. We're just quickly going around and introducing ourselves. So either one of you, if you want to just tell us who you are, where you're from, what your situation is.
Okay. My name is John Hanley. I live in the Dominican Republic, and I'm a missionary / social worker. I'm not sure if my internet is going to allow me to participate tonight or not. It's been a little rough right now. I have been on the Optavia 5-in-1 plan right now for about 3 months. I'm about 10 pounds from goal, I think. So I've lost 35 pounds down. Right. And so that's me.
So John, let me ask you a question. Did you just pack up a whole bunch of feelings to take with you?
We have a mission. Well, yes, I have. Unfortunately, I've been traveling back and forth a lot because of my mother's health. So I've been able to pack up when I get been able to coordinate it. But we have a missionary flight service. We basically have a home base in Miami.
Okay.
That collects everything for us.
Excellent.
So yeah.
All right. How about Andy? We got you muted, Andy.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Andy DeGrucci. I live in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. I'm a masonry contractor. for 38 years. And let's see, I been on Optavia a couple years now, really. As soon as I first got on it, it was super successful, dropped from 240 to 225, in no time flat. I had a goal of being under 200 for life. Never really reached that. Go yo-yoing up and down, and got into this crazy world, which I'm sure Jim Rotenberger loves it. But no, I'm just kidding. But what it is I go grocery shopping and I go out to dinner and I eat all kinds of regular food, and plus I eat all that Optavia bar. So I'm spending $400 a month probably buying Optavia and also eating everything else. So what happens is I stay fat, and I stay not around 250 now, where I got way past not getting anywhere near my 200 or less for life kind of goal. And so I got a wake up call. I got to have open heart surgery in mid-January coming up for a leaking valve. Probably not. It might be hereditary. It's really got nothing to do with the weight and all. But the doctor did say, hey, you should probably lose some weight, So I high-fived her, like I know. And so now that you got the tailgater thing going on, I'm like, I need an intervention is why I got on this. I need somebody to bang me upside the head and get me to not do what I'm doing and just stay to plan. That's the thing. I know the plan will work. I know it will. For some reason, I am fell off the wagon and I'm like crawling under the wagon around the wheels, and I'm not getting back up so far. That's my story.
So I don't know about the other guys in the room here, but I spent about 2 years doing exactly that. I would eat the Optavia fuelings from about 6 a.m. until about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And then I'd go hog wild at night every day. And the guilt I would feel every time, and every morning I wake up, it's like, okay, today is the day, back on, no messing up. 3 o'clock comes around, let's get pizza.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what's happening.
It's the struggle is real. Anyone else have that experience?
Yeah, I definitely do. My biggest downfall right now is dark chocolate. Okay, I know it's kind of unplanned because you can have a square of dark chocolate with 6 almonds. Well, sometimes not so much. But no, I'm the same. Like I said, I've gone up. I'm up about 20, maybe 20, close to 20 pounds more. My bottom goal, my lowest weight was 169. So I really need to get this back in line again, basically, what I need to do. But
I was just trying to think, when I was first on Optavia, I lost about 60, got down to 290, and I ballooned to 415 before I finally woke up. And now I'm back down to 295 right now. So, well, anyway, hey, thanks for sharing, Andy. This is your first time with us, right?
I've been on this tailgater thing before when I was like a local bunch of guys. I really, tell you the truth, I don't know who I'm talking to. How I heard it was recorded. I don't know if it's going out on World News Tonight or BBC World tomorrow night or what. I mean, who's out there on this thing? Is there 50 people out there? Or?
No, there's just 6 of us right now.
Oh, okay, all right.
We are recording it, and it is going to be posted, but all we record and post is the first 3 parts of it, where we kind of introduce ourselves. We talk about Jamil Frazier's book, The 12 Ships. And then someone usually shares a recipe. And then after that, we'll have a unrecorded time where we can just kind of chit chat about whatever, needs to be chit chatted about without being recorded.
Okay.
So yeah, this is born out of the Tailgater. It's just a reboot is all. So, okay, well, we'll just keep moving here. I think we've kind of done the story time a little bit. We've all shared a bit of our story here. Just a quick reminder that we do have some guidelines for our meetings here. We try to discourage crosstalk just because with Zoom, it's difficult to interact that way. In terms of etiquette, we ask that you stay muted unless you're talking or have been called on, just to reduce unwanted background noise or reverb or whatever that's called. We're trying to avoid divisive topics like religion and politics. Think of this more as a break room at work than the backyard at a party. I will work hard tonight to be the facilitator, not a leader. I'm not trying to teach. I am definitely not above anyone. I'm simply trying to keep the flow going. Andy, usually it's not me, it's another gentleman named Tom who facilitates this, but that's our normal flow of things here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get rolling into Jamil's book, The 12 Shifts. Oh. Okay, we did story time, so now we're into our study time here. And again, Jamil Frazier, he's a Optavia coach. Apparently everyone who's ever met him says he's a super nice guy. I haven't actually physically read his book. I've listened to it now a few times on Audible, and it's Jamil reading it, which is always interesting to me to have the author reading their own book. But anyways, this particular shift he's talking about, the title is You're an Ace, Light Yourself on Fire. Alan and I were talking a little bit before everyone else jumped on. For me, this chapter was a little difficult to get my head around, and I believe that part of it is because I struggle with doing this in my own life. He starts off by reminding us of the movie The Matrix, which I'm sure we've all seen or we're all aware of here, and the idea that, you know, Morpheus comes into the Matrix, indicates to Neo that he's the chosen one, is told by an oracle, and that Neo can come and save the world. He just has to take the pill to wake himself up, essentially, and see reality for what it is. And of course, throughout the movie, he struggles to believe that, struggles to really grasp that he has the power that he does, until he goes through a series of trials where he develops confidence and, you know, eventually realizes that he is control, and he has that final epic fight with Agent Smith, where he can slow down time and bend space to his own will. And that's what the whole chapter here is about. You know, Jamil is realizing this shift in his own life, and it's indicative for us to learn that we have that kind of power in our lives, that essentially we are the one, you know, for lack of a better phrase. I know it sounds corny, but we do have that ability to change our lives if we simply take the pill and wake up and see what's going on. You know, for me in my own weight loss journey, I acted like pizza and ice cream and chocolate had the power over me, and I couldn't resist. But I'm finally realizing that I do have the power and we can resist. Excuse me. So for me, this whole thing comes into this idea of he essentially says we have to have a belief first, that we have the ability to have that kind of power, that we are the ace, that we can light ourselves on fire and bring light to people around us. That belief has to turn into action at some point, and eventually that action will turn into heart knowledge that will begin to understand and actually believe that we can be that kind of force. He goes on to, you know, talk about these 3 interviews that I pulled up pictures of here with Oprah. I find it interesting that he's so into Oprah, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not an Oprah fan. I can totally respect her for her abilities and the empire that she's built, but not my cup of tea. However, Jamil is very impressed with her, and it's interesting to hear his take on this. So he talks about in the bottom left there, Oprah interviewing Pharrell Williams, and I didn't know who Pharrell was until I remembered that his song is in the movie Despicable Me. If you've ever seen that with the Minions, the song Happy. And anyways, so just recapping the story there, basically Pharrell grows up as this kid, you know, in a mixed race family, not well to do anything like that, but he's got a gift for music, but never quite grasps how significant it is until he's on this episode of Oprah being interviewed and realizing that his music has literally affected the entire world. And she shows this clip where there's people dancing and singing to his song from all across the world, and he breaks down in tears and finally begins to understand that all of that happened because he opened his eyes to the reality of the power that he had and was able to create that in his life. Same thing with J.K. Rowling. If you know her story, she's the author of Harry Potter, which is, you know, a wildly successful franchise. She came from absolutely nothing, you know, bankrupt, single mom, literally only had a typewriter to start getting ideas out. And she develops this entire fantasy universe. And, you know, now she's arguably one of the most well-known authors today. And again, how many people in her life, in the world, wouldn't be affected the way they are had it not been for her taking that leap of faith to go out. And then the Vietnamese monk that she interviewed, Thich Nhat Hanh, and just his devotion to bringing peace to the world. So anyways, all of these things, you know, Jamil is talking about how these people have realized that if they light themselves on fire, they really can be the ace. They can be that power in their lives. So the question I have for us tonight is, what effect would it have on your sphere of influence if you were to light yourself on fire? And I'll let you think about that for a second and just kind of give my own take on it. My upbringing, my background is not a well-to-do group of people, not highly educated, but, you know, not, I'm not from the hood either. But we always lived paycheck to paycheck. And that was just the expectation. And I'm realizing now that and of course, you know, health-wise, I was always taught, and most of my family acts this way, that food is a source of celebration. Food is a means to mourn. Food is a reason to gather. You know, everything's about food. So of course, the whole family is overweight. So realizing that if I can start to take hold of this, then I can be that chain breaker in my family. And so now in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what happens if I don't do that? Are the people around me never going to have that chain broken? So anyone else? What does it mean for your sphere of influence to light yourself on fire?
I mean, for me, it would be, you know, my family's somewhat the same way. Get-togethers are centered around food and everything, and I know my sister, she's had some bad things happen in her life, which has affected her weight, and she has this eating disorder. She's insulin resistant, and you know, Joy, over the past 2 years, this is going to be our third Christmas up home since we started, and I mean, they can see how we eat now, but my sister could really use what we're doing. I mean, we talked to her last year, and my brother-in-law really is the one that kind of really was leading the Zoom call, not leading her side of it. You know, and I wish I had more of a sphere of influence with my family, because I mean, I have an uncle that had a massive heart attack, was in a coma for quite a while, you know, And, he was doing well, and now he's ballooned back up. My mom's on doing the Weight Watchers thing. She's lost some weight, but my dad talked to him. He doesn't want to do this. He wants to stay eating the way he is. He's diabetic, but he's not doing what he should. So that, my parents don't push food on us when we're home. They let us make things. And, I wish I could be more impactful on them. And one thing that kind of struck me in the chapter here was the way Oprah would pull things out of people. She would, that's her, I guess that was what impressed Jamil, is that she pulled things out of people and brought them to a realization. And I mean, that's one thing, a lot of you are familiar with Marcia. That's one thing she had pulled out of Joy and I. She knew how to, like one of her favorite phrases is, tell me more. Tell me more. And she would draw things out of you that you didn't know were there. And that's what Oprah did with these three people. I thought this was a pretty neat chapter, short, but neat. Again, I had to look up that song Happy because I thought it was a Don't Worry, Be Happy song. I thought that's what it was. So I looked it up and I listened to it on YouTube, and it is a very peppy, uplifting song. I don't like this. The sound isn't my sound. I guess I'm very eclectic with my music, but that didn't really hit me. I mean, I like Aerosmith and most like my Christian contemporary stuff, but just the way she drew things out of these people and got them to realize what they needed to do, and the impact that Pharrell had, and this J.K. Rowling's. I mean, I never read her books. I love the movies. I think they're pretty good. But it just, again, they set themselves on fire, and that's what, Joy's them better at being on fire than I am,
So, Tim, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What would it look like for you to set yourself on fire for your family?
So they would get healthy. I mean, my sister, I know she could do this. My dad, I think maybe he's just too set in his ways. I don't know. But we keep living this healthy lifestyle in front of them. And maybe at some point it's going to hit my sister, but she's got diverticulitis. She had to have a bowel resection done. I just want to see something change, and I just keep praying it will. For my uncle too. I haven't seen my late brother's wife. Haven't seen her in a long time, but I know she's probably put on some weight, and I just want to be as impactful as we can. We go up over Christmas.
Yeah. So who else? Is there anything that stands out as what it might look like for you if you were to set yourself on fire?
Yeah, I'll pipe in a little bit here. The idea that when I was really living the Optavia coaching business, when I was full bore with it, all of the members of my wedding party lost weight.
Wow.
So we had like a before and after that. We didn't get the after picture, but there was an entire missing persons not there. I've had the ability to impact the lives of a brother and two sisters and my mother So I've got one sister as a holdout, but everybody else in some way, shape, or form had an impact from it. And I think that the conversation about the monk and his interview with Oprah, and realizing that he had a point in his life where he knew he had to speak out about something that was going on with the government, but that ended up meaning he was then going essentially into exile and out of his home. We are not going to be well received by everyone all the time. Part of setting ourselves on fire is being brave enough to put the message out there, knowing it's not always going to be accepted, and to continue to live what's authentically us in a way that we can support other people without letting them put out our fire. The downside is when we allow the doubt and the self-doubt of, am I really that, to creep in, that we start to pull back and we're not feeding it. That would be my experience with it at this point.
One of the things that stood out to me, and I said this already, is this, Jamil didn't spell this out, but the concept I got was that this idea of lighting yourself on fire starts first with a belief, then taking action, and then gaining actual understanding. And I was thinking about this afternoon, I think it might be true for all of us that at some point, probably in our childhood, there was a deviation. There was an event that caused us to start to separate from our dream, whatever that was, whether it was to be an astronaut or a fireman or, a millionaire, whatever it is, something happened and a seed was planted in our minds that said, no, that's not really possible. And Jamil talked about in the Harry Potter series, there's this scene where Harry finds a mirror at Hogwarts that allows him to see his heart's desire, to see, what would make him truly happy. And of course, Harry is an orphan. His parents were killed. So he looks in the mirror and he sees his mom and dad standing with him. And then the headmaster of the school comes up behind him and says, that the perfect person would come to this mirror and see it, or see themselves exactly as they are, because they'd be completely happy with how they are right now. And I think that difference comes back from that point to wherever we started to separate from those dreams. And I remember for myself, I was in 5th grade and I was learning how to play the mandolin. My dad was teaching me, and he got upset with me and not being able to play this particular tune properly. And I remember him saying, "Why can't you do that right?" And so immediately at that point in my mind, I thought, oh, okay, if I can't do it right, then I better not try it. And to this day, as almost 40 years old, that still stands out in my mind. So when I think about standing in front of that mirror, I think about seeing those opportunities of all those missed events because I was too afraid to try them because of that one little event. So my next question for us is, if you were to stand in front of that mirror that shows you what would make you complete, what would make you happy, what would make you feel fulfilled, what would be in that mirror with you? And the reason I ask this is because I think it has to do with lighting ourselves on fire, and that's part of it. Sorry, I cut you off, Jim.
No, that's okay. That goes along with the other part. For me, what you were talking about, because I think throughout my life, my father had cousins being born before he was born. So in my family, everybody I hung out with was, shall we say, like 15, 20 years older than me. So, and I was raised, to respect your elders. So for years and years, I just soaked in wisdom and listened. And I I never really gave my opinion. So now that's my hard part. And when you ask about the mirror, it would be confidence, the confidence that I have the knowledge to share. I know I have the knowledge, but it's hard for me to share it, to, put it out as though I'm authorized to do it. That's what I would say. And as far as dreams, I don't know as though I've ever dreamt something I didn't think I could achieve. So I'm not sure in that way, because I wanted to be a firefighter and I became a firefighter at 14. So, and I wanted to be a pilot, and that took longer because I had 5 kids. But then I finally got my pilot's license. And I don't know what dream would be in the mirror, but that confidence to share wisdom would be mine.
Anyone else? Well, that's it's a deep question, and I think it's one worth pondering, and I'm going to be mulling over this for a while now, and just trying to comprehend what it would mean for me to light myself on fire, not only for the people around me, but what actions am I going to have to take in order to do that? I remember my coach said, light yourself on fire, because people will come and watch, whether it's, good or bad, people will watch you burn. So I still am working on that, but anyways, so that's shift 5. You are the ace, and light yourself on fire for the people around you. Anyone have any closing thoughts on this shift before we move into our support time?
My closing thought on it is that I have to buy the book, because I forgot I only have it on Audible like you, and on Audible you can't just skim through it and catch the highlights. You can only see the title of the chapter. But yeah, I got to get myself a book so I can, because I listened to it 3 times or 4 times already, but to store it in your head is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
And
All
I
right.
see you popped up my fries there.
Yes. Yeah. So Jim graciously agreed to share a recipe with us.
And it's a pretty easy one. Since we started Optavia, we don't eat French fries so much anymore. Occasionally sweet potato fries, because they're better, but not French fried potatoes. So one thing we found, this is a delicata squash here, and we've had them very available in this area, and it's very easy to do. You don't have to take the skin off or anything. I cut the ends off. I slice it lengthwise and take the seeds out, and then slice it into slices about 3/8 of an inch wide. Then you put it in a bowl with olive oil, and we use the Himalayan sea salt is what we use all the time. And then I roast them on a pan, and they come out like this. I don't know if you can see it all, but even with the skin on, they're very good. And they taste like fries. The grandkids love them. My granddaughter, Lizzie, how old is she? She's 2. And one day she was over, and we put these out, and we also roasted some kale in the oven. You just roast it till it's a little crispy. She started shoving the kale down, and then when she saw these, she started eating them. And so I would recommend it if you see them in the grocery store and you miss French fries.
So is delicata squash?
Delicata squash.
Delicata.
That's approved on our veggie list?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's better. I mean, delicata and kabocha are better than the butternut. I think the butternut's higher and these are lower.
Interesting. Sorry, Andy, I wasn't trying to talk over you.
What's that?
I was just saying I wasn't trying to talk over you.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry if I was talking over anyone. I didn't realize if I'm on mute, do you mute me, or is this something that I got to mute myself when everyone else is speaking?
The host has the ability to mute you.
Oh,
but
okay.
if you mute yourself, then you know it.
Well, yeah, I realized I did mute myself. Well, anyway, the one thing about the mirror thing I thought I would add is that if I looked in the mirror, I don't know that I see a thinner person. What it is it's a person who has control, self-control. I think that the codependency on not just food, but other things are kind of distractions you want to bring along as friends because they comfort you and they're nearby and they can be a safe place to run to. And so being that person that has this codependent baggage, would be to be living kind of victoriously, let's just say, would be a life where you're in the mirror, and it might be that you're thinner because you don't have all that baggage, but you're also much more capable to accomplish whatever you want because you are free of the things that you are latching on to that are actually your nemesis. They're the things that are holding you down. And the reason we don't let them go, I realize this too, it's about fear. One long time ago, somebody asked me about this, a long time ago, how come, why do you think you have blockades about losing weight and getting with it? And I think I said, because I fear of what I actually would be able to accomplish if I was completely healthy in every way. And I think I'm pretty accomplished now as a Mason in all the things I do. So it scares me thinking like, what if you were really in control of everything? Oh my gosh, I'd be like a superhero kind of guy, I think, and that scares me. I don't know if I want that role. So I think I'll just have some more fries and put some cheese on that, because it's a scary place to be. But that would be who I wished I was in the mirror. But that takes a lot of confidence.
That's some deep thoughts.
Yeah.
I know that feeling personally of being afraid of what I'll be like. I don't know that I necessarily am afraid that I'll go too far, but it's just, I don't know. I've never been a thin person, so I have no idea what it brings. Alan, are you okay?
Oh, trying to take over the world, I love that Andy has just hit the mirror and the setting yourself on fire in the same thing. On the one side is what the mirror is showing you where you're holding yourself back. On the other side is, and if I did set myself on fire, hello world, look what I'm coming to do.
So, and that's where you don't want to, like, who elected me to do that, and so you think, you know what, just calm down and have another donut, just stay where you're at,
Well,
Well, let's go ahead and we'll wrap up the recording here, and then we can continue the conversation as freely as we want. But I don't want to have super sensitive stuff recorded for the world to see. So just want to say thank